Climbed up a tree that night. I sat up in the branches and I felt like a bird. It was the best feeling in the world.
Hey everybody, this is Jimmy and welcome to Everything Under the Sun. We got a great show for you today, folks, but before we get started, we want to send a special thanks to Fresh Air Entertainment for providing the studio, Tony Herman and his staff. Thank you so very much. And before we get go started, if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button and then go up into the right-hand corner and hit the little notification so we can let you know about the great shows that are coming up. Before we get into it today, I got a little story for you. Back in 2007, I went to this little mini music festival called Barn Jam because I'd been hearing about this great up-and-coming new band called The Works. We got there, the place was packed. The barn was filled, about 200-300 people. It was one of the most fun experiences I ever had with a local band at a local festival, and all I really wanted to know was more about this band. Me and the old lady, my wife Susie, we drove home about 2:30 in the morning. Second set hadn't even started. Next morning, we go to breakfast about 11 o'clock at a local place there in town to have some breakfast. And I start talking to the owner's son, and I'm telling him about this band and this great guitar player they had. And he goes, well, what's the name of the band? And I said, The Works. And he goes, you really like the guitar player? I go, yeah. He goes, he's working in the kitchen right now. And I was like, well, he's not working very hard because he just got here probably from playing all night long. But what I did learn is how much of a hard worker this man is, as you will for the rest of the show. And that was my introduction to my guest today. He's one of the hardest working people in the Dayton scene. I call him the Warren Haynes, and he's come of the Dayton scene, and he's come a long, long way from washing dishes at Doubledays. Please welcome from The Works, Cheesecake, every other band you can think of in Dayton, Chris Hauser, everybody. Let's welcome to the program. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing good. How are you?
We're doing good. Finally got you here. Finally got time to talk to you. We've been friends for a while. You've been playing my festivals for a while.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about something, something I always bring up that you did for me at a festival. We'll talk about that later. But, again, that day, the fact that I don't think you probably got home until 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
And you were
I
at
might not have even
Doubledays.
slept.
We're there.
Back
Prove to me how
back in
much.
those days.
Right. Prove to me how much of a hard worker you are. And what I've learned since then is that is such a true statement. You're one of the hardest working people I know.
Oh, I appreciate that.
So let's
Thank you.
get into the Chris Hauser story. You, little Chris, first time you picked up the guitar, what motivated you to pick up the guitar? Was there music? Was it influenced you?
I was in middle school. I was about 12 years old.
Yeah.
And that was around the time in my life where I was kind of doing what my friends were doing. At that time, we were all skateboarding. And I played sports as well. I played baseball and football, Wee Elks football for Centerville. And skateboarding came up. That's what all my school friends were doing when, they didn't play football. They were skateboarding. So I started doing that with them, and I was terrible at skateboarding. I was constantly rolling my ankles, constantly just not being a good skateboarder. Like they excelled way better than me. I did not have the balance. So then a couple of them started playing guitar, and we had all gotten really into Jimi Hendrix and the grunge era at that time. So like Green Day, Offspring,
Nirvana.
the whole Nirvana, all those bands from the grunge era, and my friends had started playing guitar, and I was like, that's interesting. That sounds interesting. I want to play guitar. I want to be like Jimi Hendrix. So first thing I had to do was figure out what kind of guitar Jimi Hendrix played. I knew nothing about any of it. Does he play a bass? No, that's the 4-string one. Oh, okay, so that would be easier. I should probably try and learn that.
Yeah.
My uncle had a Harmony Flying V guitar that he had bought from Sears in the 70s. He got it from the Sears catalog. He still had it sitting in his closet, so he let me tinker around on that. Apparently, immediately I had shown some sort of prowess or some sort of gift. I started picking out notes right away, and just kind of being able to sound simple tunes out. From that first time I picked up the guitar. I wanted to play left-handed.
Right.
Because I write with my left hand, and I figured, well, Jimi Hendrix played left-handed. I'm left-handed too. I should play left-handed. Well, my uncle's guitar was right-handed. So I learned to play right-handed. He let me take that guitar home, and I kept it for years after that. Yeah. That later on that year, my dad bought me my first guitar. It was a Samick Strat style black guitar, white pickguard. Bought it for me for Christmas with a little custom with a K amplifier. It was like I don't even know if it was a 10-inch speaker, maybe an 8.5-inch speaker. Had a distortion button on it. And
it was rock and roll.
That was it.
You felt like a rock and roll player?
I did not feel like a rock and roll player then. I felt like I didn't feel like I was actually any good until I had played in front of my friends who were skateboarding before me and much better at skateboarding. We finally got to the point like, hey, let's play guitar together. I was like, okay, well, I learned this Beatles song. Let's play it, and my friend Joe Staley, he's like, okay, well, I can play the rhythm part. Da 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 da. This little blues thing. Get back.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. I got the lead. And we played through that song, and I played the lead with all the bends and everything, and we were 7th grade. And so I guess I might have been 14 by that time, 13. And right after I played through the solo, my friend just stopped, threw his hands in the air. He's like, well, what the hell, man? He's like, why? Like, I don't even want to play anymore. He's like, how did you do that? Like, I don't know. I just did it.
Well, that's cool, man. I mean, I think you're a wonderful guitar player. I've been telling you that for years. You know that. What was that moment? I'm going to ask every musician that's on and so was that your moment? Like the moment where, or do you have another moment where you're like, okay, this is it. This is good. I'm doing this. I can do this. Do you remember that moment, that first time when the crowd or you were like, whoa, this is good?
There were multiple moments like that. And they were, gradually bigger moments.
Mm-hmm.
The first moment, I think that I thought that I could ever make money from music or make some sort of a living from doing music. I've always been my own worst critic, so every time I do anything, that's never good enough.
Right.
And I've started to let that go over the years, but it's still there. But I'd say the first time was I was 21 or 22. I was playing at Capri Lanes, and we're playing the open mic nights. That's where I met Tony on Wednesday nights, and the bartender at the end of the night would start slipping me 20s. He's like, "Here." I'm like, "What is this?" "No, this is an open mic night. I'm not here to make money. I'm here to have fun."
Right.
He's like, "Just take this and just please come back next week." I was like, I'm like, man, this is against everything I'm supposed. I was told never, just don't try to make money doing it, just have fun with it.
Well,
and
eventually
it was so much fun, I couldn't resist, and there was, we really started something big at Capri Lanes with that group, and it was just a fun times group, and that same bartender, I believe it was Doug, yeah, it was Doug. And then Alex as well, but they were like, man, you got to get a band. You got to get a band, man. So that was the first moment where I was like, oh, maybe I should get a band.
Yeah. And when it comes to the music, everything, a lot of people start out with that. This is not for the money, it's for the love. But eventually, if you do want to get to a point, it is about the money a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. No,
So,
it's unavoidable.
Yeah.
If you want to be able to keep doing it and do
Right.
it in any large capacity, it has to be about the money. Unfortunately,
Yeah, you
it
can
has to
only
be about the
bust
money.
for so long on it. Yeah, but what was the first band? What was the first band you? Any local guys? The first band. What was the name?
The first band that had a ticketed show was UFDA. UFFDA. It's a Scandinavian phrase. It's something that it's like a celebratory phrase, like a cheers, or also something you say at the end of a long day of work. You sit down on the couch, UFDA, or it's also like UFDA.
Yeah.
You know,
What kind of music?
jam band stuff. It was myself and Chris Hansen. That was what we started. It was him on acoustic, and I had my mini Samick. It wasn't a mini guitar, but it looked small in my hands because I was a lot larger than I am right now at that time. I had my Samick and plugged into this digital effects processor and going into a solid state crate 412 monstrosity half stack that I had no business playing through, but that's what it was. And like a couple of months later, we gained Mike Schneider as a bass player, and then Alex Ohl as percussionist, and then later we got Tyler Wolf as a drummer. T-Bone, yep,
Yeah.
the metronome.
I miss Chris. He's a Bostonian now.
Yep.
So I miss Chris. He's a good guy. So well, that's cool. Was the jam band where you wanted to go when you picked up the guitar? Was that the kind of music you were drawn to originally, or were you just? I know you said Hendrix, but
The magic of what Hendrix did, is his improvisation, as far as I'm concerned. He had many different magical qualities about him.
Yes,
That's one of the only guitar players that's made me hear color.
That's
You know,
I never heard that before. That's a great line.
And that was very much what I wanted to recreate. But by the time we had created this band, I was well into. I had dove deep into Phish and the Grateful Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, the magic of improvisation.
Yeah.
And seeing where Phish could take things to seemingly, endless. They would start a song and you really didn't know where they were going to go.
Yeah.
And I loved that aspect of improvisational music, the possibilities, the endless possibilities. So that was the goal, for that first band. We didn't really touch on any of that stuff, but we all kind of wanted to,
Yeah.
we handled what we could,
Right.
but as far as we weren't trying to like move mountains with music, we were just trying to have fun, and we accomplished that.
Again, yeah, that's very cool. I like I said, but do you I'm trying to think here. Do you influences family wise? You talked about your uncle with the guitar. Did he also help you along the way? Has he been a part of that along the way at the beginning? Was he there helping you with that, or
no? His guitar was in a closet, had been for decades.
Yeah.
He did not pursue music in any way whatsoever. My grandpa, on my mom's side, he was the piano player for the Howard Swing Band for about 60 years.
Wow. That's a long time.
Now while that was an inspiration, he was also not an influence.
Right.
Because later on down the road, as I started touring, he was the one who told me, get out. Get out of it while you still can. Get out of it. There's no money in music. Trust me. I've done this for 60 years. Just do it for fun. Get yourself a good job.
Well, we'll get into that because when I first met you, the works were just starting out. And as I said, you've progressed way from that. That was 2007. You've toured internationally, as I say, because you've been, if you leave the country, you've toured internationally.
Yeah.
You've toured, you've headlined festivals. You've played everything. And the reason why I call him the Warren Haynes is not only is he in the works, he's also a member of Cheesecake, which is kind of your little side project, would you say?
Cheesecake was actually my second band.
Oh, well, let's get into that.
So we went UFTA, Cheesecake, the works.
Okay. And T-Bone's been there T-Bone's a great drummer. I love him. And Chucky Love too.
Yep.
So,
but as far as influences go, to jump back to that one, my father, my dad, he always encouraged me.
Yeah.
Always encouraged me.
Well, that's the one thing that I know about is your love for your father. And the cheesecake. Cheesecake to me is a lot more improvised. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm. Improvisational.
Okay. Yeah. Than even the works. Is that a lot because that's your little side project? Now it's your side. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
Is that where that's when the direction that you were taking towards? That took it to the whole nother level.
Yeah, we are Cheesecake. It's we're a 3-piece, bass, drums, guitar. So
was it 3-piece then too?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, unless Norman was sitting in,
Okay.
which he would say, if we had a show, he would call us up. Hey guys, I'm sitting in. Cool, Norm. Yeah, we won't say no. Bring your keys. You just jump in wherever you want, like you always do, and we'll just do it.
Yeah, we'll get into Norman a little later.
But Cheesecake was a free for all. And we also, as we've grown older, we have honed that. We still have the free for all feel as far as improv goes, but we like to pick a certain direction. Once we hit a certain feel in an improv section, we will tend to build that now. Where when we first started, we were just all over the place. We just follow like any other nuance. Like if Chuck went to minor real quick, I jumped to minor, and then we go right back to major in the same key, and we were boundless. We would just call out different key changes and just go anywhere and see what happened. But nowadays we're a little more controlled, just a little.
The older you get.
Yeah, settle down.
Now you can just look back at him and he knows where you're going. You've gotten that good.
Yes.
Yeah, and yeah. Well, that's very cool. You went to Centerville. Did you go to college?
No.
Okay.
I did not. I went to a college, but not for school. I went to UD. And hung out a lot.
Yeah, I know. I should have graduated too that way from college. That's what I did growing up.
I was certainly there long enough to have graduated, but I did not attend one class.
Well, that's the one thing. The Barn Jam was a UD professor's little mini festival that he put on.
Yep, Eric Sutman.
They were mainly he did. That was very cool. The local local festival scene here has blown up and is great. And we'll get to the band now. The works, because I think they're mostly responsible for the Dayton scene festival-wise getting much bigger. Dayton has had some great bands come out of here. We've had from the funk, we've had Lakeside Drive, the Ohio Players. We had Guided by Voices, and to me, the next great thing that came out of Dayton was the works. They did it the right way. You worked hard. You toured your butts off. I'm amazed at how much. I have a little thing when I book festivals. It always makes me smile when I hear a band that I've booked on the radio or I've seen them on TV. And for me, the first time I heard you guys on Jam On, it made me like smile inside because I remember that 200 barn seater, and now you're over in the Dominican Republic and playing in front of 40,000 people. So let's get into it. It was you, Rob Chafin, Chucky Love, and Dave
Bartoletti.
Dave Bartoletti.
Yeah.
How long was that original? Because you've gone through a couple lineups since then. Yeah. How long was that lineup together?
So the Works, that group originally started jamming together in 2005, and we came up with a name, The Works, with an O, and I think it was 2006, and then we picked the E by 2007.
Yeah.
Maybe before then. My memory's a little bit hazy of that period.
Well, it was 420 when I saw you the first time.
Oh, yeah,
in 2007.
At the
So it was and you were the Works with the E by then. So okay, go ahead.
So Dave was in the band until I think Thanksgiving 2008 was his last show. Chubby has a recording on archive of that show.
2009.
Was it
Because you played
2009?
Shakedown. Remember we played Shakedown on Brown Street?
Mm-hmm.
And Dave was there for that show.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, that was one of his last ones. It was the last Magi show and the last Works with Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he was in the group for 4 years.
That's right. Yeah.
And as you go through, the group has changed. The group hasn't changed per se musically, which is what I really like about it. That when you added new members, you became better at what you were doing. You didn't necessarily change to fit. You kept on the path. Has that been hard? Was that hard to do? Was that hard to keep the new guys motivated to keep going that way?
Yeah, I mean, when Dave announced that he was going to leave the band, I mean, we're just like, well, that's it. We didn't. Some of us were, and because everything, all the times up until there, like, it was a lot of fun. We weren't making any money, but we all still had jobs.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, oh, this thing's failing. Like, we got nothing else. We've got to go do something else. But we had that was the first time we'd been through that. Where we were like, oh, what are we gonna do? Okay, well, then we figured out we're gonna hold auditions. See who else is out there. We had a few ideas of who we wanted. And
sorry, I know who
my mind was already made up, but a couple other members, or at least one member was like, no, we don't want that guy. He's crazy.
Yeah. Norman D.
But we landed with Norman. We landed on Norman.
And I think that once you did that was Dave is a great keyboardist. I think Norman took you guys to up a little bit, and then
Absolutely.
we're going to get into a little more because there were more changes that came, and that's the moment when you guys were like, that was it. That, to me, that was the moment. And I think you were going to do it anyway with Dave, but I think Norman helped you because Norman was born a rock star.
He was born something. And it was,
sorry, Marcus.
And he was born something much more than a lot of other people.
Yes.
And that
is such a great description.
I think I might have nailed it with that one.
Well, listen, we're going to talk more with Chris. You guys, you don't even know how interesting this man is. So please stick around because we've just touched the tip of the iceberg with him. He's been on tour with all places, the people he's played with. We haven't even gotten into everyone's orchestra, which I love. But right now, I know you've all been waiting for this. We're going to get you to sing.
All right.
Oh yeah, we forgot. You got to do your job when you're here a little bit. We can talk all you up, but people will be upset with me. Tell that bald guy to shut up and let Chris sing. That's what they really want to hear is hear you sing. So we're going to let him sing. Is this one that you have written yourself? Is this a work song? Is this a solo song? Or
this is one that I wrote myself. I brought it up to the Works when we were recording our last album, and it was it didn't quite fit with the whole feel of that album. So it's not a work song yet.
okay.
But who knows?
Right.
You never know. And that's the name of this song.
Sweet.
You never know.
you see people from all walks of life are wandering this way and that. Did you ever think for a minute when you're stuck in a really bad part of life, there's somebody else out there going through the same pain and strife? And I know, ooh, life goes slow. Ooh, you never know how far you gotta go till you get there. You never know how far you gotta go till you try. Little Polly was a poor kid living on the wrong side of the tracks. You never ever hurt no one, but they always seemed to hold him back. One day Polly woke up, said, I'm tired of living like this way. I'm gonna take my time, start enjoying all the rest of my days. And I know, whoa, life goes slow. You never know how far you've gotta go till you get there. You never know how far you've gotta go till you try. You never know how far you've gotta go till you get there. You never know, hey, you may never find a reason why. I feel something in the air. I feel love everywhere. And someday you'll find, if you take your time, you'll find love out there. Well, I know. Whoa, whoa, oh, oh, yeah. You never know how far you gotta go till you get there. You never know how far you gotta go till you try. You never know how far you gotta go till you get there. You never know, may never find a reason why. So I get high. Never know how far you gotta go till you get there. You never know how far you gotta go till you try. You never know how far you gotta go till you get there. You never know, may never find a reason why.
All right. Woo, that was pretty good. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Chris Hauser. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back here with Everything Under the Sun. Don't forget, hit subscribe, hit the notification thing. This is Jimmy. We'll be right back.